Good morning, boys and girls. Today, we're going to be reading an excellent book called The Most Magnificent Thing by Ashley Spires. The Most Magnificent Thing is a story about a young lady here on the cover who creates a plan to make an amazing invention that she calls the most magnificent thing. Unfortunately, when she goes to make the most magnificent thing, she runs into a few challenges. Before we begin reading this book, we need to make some connections to the book in order to understand it better. I want you to think about a time where you created the most magnificent thing, or an incredible creation that was unique and special to you. I know that I can think about a time where I created the most magnificent thing. My special creation was a castle that I built out of boxes and old cans. It was a lot of hard work, but in the end, I created a magnificent creation that was worth it in the end. I wrote down my most magnificent thing here on this Post-it note. I'm going to use this connection later to help me understand the text. So I'm going to place my connection and my Post-it note here on the board where it says My Connections. Now it's your turn. I want you to think about and then write about on your Post-it the most magnificent thing that you've ever created. When you're finished writing your idea on your Post-it note, be sure to share it with an elbow partner. Johnny, I was listening to your conversation with Jose, and I noticed that you talked about the most magnificent thing that you've ever created. That was an excellent connection to the young lady in this story. Here I have your Post-it note where you wrote down your most magnificent thing. Johnny said, I made a magnificent Lego spaceship. It broke 3 times, but it was all right in the end. This is an excellent connection to the young lady in this story that is trying to make her most magnificent invention. I'm going to place Johnny's connection right here on our My Connections board. It is important that we think about how we connect to the story as we continue to read. Carly, I also heard that you were making a connection to the story and thinking about the most magnificent thing that you made. On your Post-it note, you said that I made a magnificent apple pie. It was hard to make, but it was delicious. This is another fantastic connection to the story. You talked about a magnificent thing that you made and the process that you went through to make it. We're going to see the similar things that this child does in the story. Let's begin reading. And remember, we're going to use our connections to help us better understand the story. The Most Magnificent Thing by Ashley Spires. The most magnificent thing. This is a regular girl and her best friend in the whole wide world. They do all kinds of things together. They race. They eat. They explore. They relax. She makes things. He unmakes things. One day, the girl has a wonderful idea. She is going to make the most magnificent thing. I'm going to pause here for a second. I heard the word magnificent, and that reminded me of a connection that I made earlier. When I'm reading the book, I need to think about what experiences the characters have and how they connect to my own life. This helps me understand the story better. So I'm going to go back and think about the most magnificent thing that I made. I remember, because I put it on my connections board, that the most magnificent thing that I made was when I made a castle out of boxes. I'm going to continue to think about that as we read the story and see how it helps me connect to the text. Remember to use your connections from the My Connections board to understand what is happening in the story as well. She knows just how it will look. She knows just how it will work. All she has to do is make it and she makes things all the time. Easy peasy. I'm going to pause right here again because I want you to think about the experiences that the girl is having and how it connects to your life. Think about your most magnificent thing that you put on the connection board. What plan or process did you use to create that most magnificent thing? Is it similar to the girl in the story? Why or why not? Talk to your elbow partner about your connections to the story.